Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Underneath the Hood. I'm Dave Martin, the owner of Martin's Auto Repair in Central Phoenix.
I'm Glen Hayward, the proud owner of Goodworks Auto Repair in sunny Tempe, Arizona.
And I'm Lee Weatherby with Accurate Automotive in the heart of Mesa.
And together, we represent 140 years of combined automotive experience.
Our goal is to change the perception of our auto repair industry by going behind the scenes and underneath the hood.
And we hope to share with you what it's like to own a small business and give you a perspective from an insider's point of view.
So let's get started. Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going?
David Martin, you dirty rat. You stole the mic right away, man. You know, he always takes the lead on this thing.
Do you want me to drop the mic right now? Throw it on the ground?
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
No, we love you, Dave, man.
So guys, another great podcast. Looking forward to it. It's always great to hang out with you guys
That's
and talk a little bit about
That's what I
automotive.
love about the mornings with you. You know what I mean? Everything is great. Dave, it's great.
Yeah, it gets. It could go either way later on, but we're going to start out great.
I like the fact that you're starting my day out great.
Always
great to see you.
Start a day out great.
Great to see you.
Yeah.
And then optimism beats pessimism.
Somebody
all
told
day
me a
long.
long time ago when I was a kid, he said, what happened yesterday, you can't fix it, you can't change it. Learn from it, move on, forget about it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's so true. It
I
keeps
think
you...
John DeLorean. That's an old quote from DeLorean.
Is it? One of my customers told me that when I was a kid. And you know what? It makes it so much better because if you pile on yesterday, today, and tomorrow, you could end up with some really bad thoughts in your head. So those demons start to get in there. So anyway, well, let's get the show off and running here.
Today we're going to be talking about car inspections. What different types there are, why this should be done, how this should be done, if they're being done right, and that. But you
got
I have an on this day.
Yeah, you got a day in history.
So on this
Professor
day in
Glen.
history, Professor Glen is back. All right. So on March 31st of, you ready? 1932. God, I feel younger now. The V8 was introduced. I could have had a V8. Oh, not that V8, a different V8. Okay, this would be the V8 engine. Henry Ford's engineering triumph was the N block, as in quotes, ENBLOC V8, which combined the cylinders and crankcase into a single iron casting, making it lighter, more compact, and cheaper to produce. Wow. That's a mouthful right there. So I won't repeat it, but the first V8, that wasn't a...
1932.
Yeah, 1932. That seems like a long time ago, but just think about the genius that it took to put. I mean, it's like the Wright brothers being the first guys to fly an airplane for a certain distance. I mean, there's a lot of competitors out there doing it, but someone did it.
Yeah.
The ingenuity is what you said. You nailed it right there. The ingenuity is amazing, and the technology that they had back then was nothing like it is today.
And 100 years later, you know what I mean? We're not even quite 100 years later. Yeah. They're now trying to, minimize everything, take the V8s away.
Put turbos on them.
Put turbos and superchargers and everything else.
They're trying to get most horsepower out of a small engine.
Let's revive Henry Ford's engineering triumphs and, you know what I mean? Keep the V8s naturally aspirated and get them out on the road again. You know? For heaven's sakes.
And it's amazing how we've talked about this in other shows as well. All these cars that maybe were $10,000 when they are worth millions. It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely crazy.
Well, Americans do love muscle cars. Americans do love the big muscle cars, power, speed.
Dave, I love them. I have 6 of them.
I know, we do. And it's true. And now to your point, what they're trying to do is they're trying to take these small cars and compact everything and make them fast.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are pretty fast.
They are. But they just don't have any longevity.
They don't know.
I mean, that's the funny thing. These things lasted and lasted and lasted. And just
you
went.
You can rebuild the engine 6 times. It's crazy.
You could.
They were made with so much metal.
You bet.
And it's like everything was just so
over-engineered.
Yeah,
and I like that. Now, unfortunately, they've cut so many pennies out of nickels that they're under-engineered, you know what I mean? And they don't have any mass, you know what I mean?
Well, they're all trying to do it cheaper. Manufacturing needs to be cheaper, and then you make more money and, sell it cheaper.
Cheaper, lighter, faster, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's... Now, you've got something else that you want to share.
Well, yeah, because today we are going to be talking about inspections and the different types and styles. So I thought this would be apropos. This is from the former CEO of IBM. You get what you inspect, not what you expect.
Mm-hmm. The N and the X.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that because it is absolutely true. Sometimes the expectation is this, but what you actually inspected was this. So.
It says he was the former CEO of IBM.
Mm-hmm.
Former. I mean, did they fire him after he made up that expression?
Well,
he probably retired.
Maybe he expected something that he didn't expect. And
what I get,
I promise you, I didn't quite go that far, but I would have to imagine that.
I expected more depth on
well,
it.
and I will tell you what I get out of that is not all inspections are created equal.
No, that's exactly right.
And because the inspection process
Exactly
is different.
Exactly.
And also the person inspecting is different.
There you
and
go.
whether they're trained properly or not trained properly, there's so much that goes into this. I mean, we could probably talk about this for 2 hours, but we don't have that long.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm golfing today, man. So you guys,
you're golfing.
can't drag this out.
That seems like I say that seems like a routine thing. Are you golfing? This is the real question. Are you golfing or are you swatting?
Yes.
And do you cheat?
I swat the flies.
Hey, I just want to
And
know.
do you cheat?
And do you have a foot? Hey, Glenn, do you have a foot wedge?
Yes.
Do you? All right. There we
Foot
go.
wedge.
I take it far enough out of bounds. If I golf the ball far enough out of bounds, I'm going to use my foot wedge.
I like it. I like
Get
it.
back on the lawn.
Well, you know what? It's in my bag too.
But I'm not playing for money,
Oh.
or for fame or fortune. It's just for fun.
It's just for fun. Well, that's when a foot wedge is really important.
It is.
You know, bragging
Do you throw
rights
your
are
clubs
important.
when you slice it?
Only on days that I'm with the wife. Try to refrain from throwing them all the time.
My nephew used to go golfing all the time with some guys, and they would get so mad if they slice the ball and throw the clubs. And
I got a fun story, and I'll
That's
just quick,
childish.
'cause
I
it's
break
way
them
off.
over my knee.
It's way off topic. But when I was 17, we were out in Palm Springs. We were playing. It was like 120 degrees outside, and we were just having a great time. Fun, right? Well, we got paired with a guy, and he was having anything but fun. And he literally, I think it was about hole number 11. He took his bag off the gun and he threw it in the water. and I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm 17. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking to myself, I want those. I went in and got them.
And that guy,
And I pulled them out, and he looks at me and he goes, "What are you going to do?" I go, "I'm keeping them, man." He threw them away. And he goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah." He got his cart and he drove back to the thing. I kept them. I'm telling you, it was
and
fun.
he's the guy that goes around and tells everybody how much he loves golf.
Yeah. Such a fun game.
But that was so long ago. His
Golf brought that
his
expression
club
out of
still
me.
had wooden shafts, and after they got in the water,
No,
you know,
they were
I know,
Mizuno.
I'm
They were
kidding.
Mizuno clubs.
kidding.
And I'll never forget it because I never played with them, but I sold them, and it was it's
When I was
Sold
a-
them
When
and
I
made
was
profit.
a kid, though,
they were too small for me.
When I was a kid, I had neighbors that actually did that wooden shaft club.
Oh yeah, my dad had a whole thing of wooden shafts. I got wooden shafts in the garage right now.
yeah.
You know, can't
So-
play with them, but they're good collector's items.
So, all right. So
Yeah,
let's
sorry.
get back to inspections because
Here we go.
Yeah.
Glenn could talk about golf all day long.
Probably not.
So, guys,
I want to go back to the point that you were making, though. You said it depends on the technician, you know what I mean, or something to that.
well, the process too.
The process.
The process is
Here's
important.
the thing. Nowadays, they have a very, what I'm going to call uniform, to some degree, process that we can establish, because you can do digital inspections that walks you through, you know what I mean, how and
Line
what
by
to
line.
look at line by line, so that you can be extremely thorough. So it kind of takes some of the, what I'm going to say, objectivity, you know what I mean, out of the process, more streamlining it, making it more efficient and more effective for the consumer.
But the person looking at it
Needs
is-
to know what they're identifying.
Right. The thing
Absolutely.
is if they don't know what they're looking at, it isn't going to help.
You bet. That's
I mean,
why.
but I understand where you're getting, and it is. We have made it so easy. But before we did digital and field inspections, I sat down with
Piece
all
of
my
paper.
techs.
Yeah.
I sat down with my techs, and I said,
Training.
okay. So we went through every item on the car that we needed to inspect, and we
bet.
put it in a process to where it would be efficient. Number one, and we make sure that we checked all those boxes.
Right.
Now it's digital, and we got the cameras.
You
it's
bet.
so much easier, and when we send them to our customers, they love it. Because they understand more what we're telling them.
You know what? And I love it too, because I'm a visual learner. I don't necessarily read and then just understand right away. But I mean,
That's
if I
why
read
we don't
it,
give you much script here.
We give you the easy stuff.
that's why
We
it's
give you
like-
the easy stuff. we know you're special. We know you're special.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
simple.
that. No, but I mean, if I can, if I read it and I get, an awareness of it, and then all of a sudden I can see it kind of in practical application, it really, brings to light for me, it helps me understand,
Right.
You know what I mean? What
I'm kind of like that
going.
too, though. You know, I think I'm more of a kind of a visual kind of guy. If you can sit there and tell me whatever you want to tell me, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Once I see it, I can figure out what we're talking about.
Right.
Pretty
Well,
easily.
and the thing of it is, you can adapt it and you can make it your own. You know what I mean? So you can own it, because I think that's what you're really getting to when we do these inspections. I mean, you guys, we feel like we own them. You know what I mean? Like we can now take responsibility for getting this car in and doing a good, really thorough evaluation. You know what I mean, for our consumers, because we know that what we've now put forward, what we've seen, would be the same things we do to our own vehicles.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And
But for what it's worth, I want
gives
to
a little
say
comfort.
the digital inspection has revolutionized, the whole
absolutely.
inspection process for anybody and any shop that wants to make the investment. It is an expensive investment, and it's a continuing one. It's not like you pay once and you get it all and it's done. There's a subscription.
Yeah, monthly.
But also, they update and upgrade the way things are done. But again, it's not, what you inspect, it's what you expect.
Right.
And what we expect as owners and what a tech may be doing when he's doing the inspection, they may not have the same meticulous type of
To Dave's point.
attitude that you might, or they might interpret like when we used to verbally say, oh yeah, the oil is dark, the oil is amber, the oil is black. Okay, well, how black is black and how amber is amber? And now the digital inspection, you take a picture of it. Here's your car, here's its oil, and here's how dark it is, and all oils will get dark. But when we know what the
And are
interval was,
supposed to.
yeah.
Well, and to your point, leaks used to drive me up the wall.
Leaks and seeps.
Because when I was a service writer, it used to drive me crazy. Is it leaking? Is it seeping? Is it wet?
Right.
So now, to your point, the digital vehicle inspection has cleaned all of that up, because now my guys take a picture of it,
Yep.
and they'll say, and then the customer can say, okay, it's just wet, it's not hitting the ground yet. Because a lot of times you told the customer, you got a leak, well, it's not hitting the ground, I don't see anything in my driveway, because it's not, because it's starting to seep, and it's sticking to the metal or sticking to the bottom of the car.
And we label that in that category monitor, or we keep an eye on it.
Right, and that's absolutely.
Otherwise, you think you're trying to nickel and dime them for every little thing that comes along. Yeah, if you got an oil leak, it's just starting to sweat somewhere. We call it sweating or just seeping, right? No, it doesn't have to fix right now, but we'll keep an eye on it. And there again, you're selling consistency, having them come back. You've seen it. You got the picture of it. They'll come back to see you to see how it's
And the part that I
developed.
like is what you were talking to. We've spent literally hours in our shops training our people. You know what I mean? What we expect from them to inspect. Because let's flip this on its head and where it really is appropriate. What does the customer's expectation?
Right.
What are they expecting?
Right. I was just
to
going to
be
go there. Yep.
inspected?
Yeah, you have to flip the lens around.
Absolutely.
Well, because guess what? I've had customers where I sent them a picture of a leak. We're talking about a leak, right?
Right.
And it was just seeping. It was the bottom of the engine was wet.
Right.
And they said, oh no, that's unacceptable. I want it replaced. I want it fixed. I do not want that. And then I've had other customers say, you know what? It's okay. I'll just keep an eye on it. Next oil change, we'll look at it again.
You bet.
So what
You better report what is there.
Right. And what the customer expects, some people are really meticulous.
You
They
bet.
do not want any kind of leak whatsoever,
Right.
and they want that fixed right away.
Right.
So we
Well, there's a crack in the dam. Now there's a leak in the dam. Now the dam breaks. I mean, we can't predict that. I can't predict when a leak is going to become worse of any sort. If it's
100%.
nothing, it's nothing. But if there's something that's starting there, something else could, change in the whatever, the heat, whatever it is that's making the thing start.
No question.
And all of a sudden the dam breaks, and now.
It can happen. It can happen in a very rapid amount of time. And it could also take a prolonged period.
It could take a year for
You
it.
bet.
to
Well,
and how
really
many
have a
times?
problem.
How many times we talk about inspections, and that's what our topic is today. And there's all different kinds of inspections, and I want to get into that in a minute here.
We will.
But I want to say something. It's like, how many times have you heard? And I don't know the statistics on this, but people have went to the heart doctor, left the heart doctor, had a heart attack in the parking lot, and dropped dead. And so it's batteries was a classic example back in the day.
Oh,
We've got these fancy new testers now that test state of health.
Right.
When we inspect the battery,
And it says state of health.
It's state of health. So we can get it a little bit better, closer, a little bit better idea of this battery is failing.
Got to share a story just because that state of health prompted it. We have a customer. They've been in twice. Okay, so about 3 months ago they were in, and we told them at the time, state of health. You know what I mean? Battery should be replaced. Well, I'm not having any problem. It's not slow cranking. Everything's working fine. You know what I mean? I'm going to go ahead and push for it. We gave them the sheet because, like you say, we got the fancy tools, right? We gave them the sheet, said 68%. Got a call about 2 weeks ago. Hey, I went to the store and I went in. Everything was fine. I came out and the car is dead. What do I do? I says, do you have any jumper cables or a jump box? No. Okay. Do you have AAA? Yes. Okay. What I would probably do is have AAA come out and see if they can at least jump your battery, see if it'll get you one more start, and then get it in, and we'll probably going to be that battery that we talked about. Sure enough, they've got it in, battery deader than a doornail, literally. And so once again, it's about that time frame that we're talking about and whether or not that time frame. You know what I mean? Could be a day, could be a week, could be a month.
Temperature related too. If
You
that
bet.
temperature gets
There
cold,
it
it gets
is.
hot, yeah. So that
There
happens.
it is.
So all right. So let's nail this. We got to talk about inspections here, and I want to get to this here.
Okay.
What type of inspections? Because we just said at the very beginning, not all inspections are created equal.
Yeah.
What is the most number one? What type of inspections do you guys do in your shop?
Well, first of all, I mean, there's the general inspection that takes place every time you come in, even for an oil change, which is comprehensive. The wheels come off, the brakes get inspected, the drums come off. We don't guess, how much meat is left on the
Top to bottom
brake shoes.
So you would consider that a thorough inspection?
It is a very thorough, but there's even one more thorough.
He used a great word, comprehensive.
There is one that is more thorough than that.
There
which
is.
It's called a pre-purchase inspection.
You bet.
So we tell our customers, hey, I'm looking for a new car. Or just in conversation, I'm looking for another car. Glenn, do you have anything for sale? No, I don't. But if you find something that you're interested in, first ask the question, would you mind if I take this car and take it to my mechanic and have a pre-purchase inspection? If they say no, you put on your track shoes and you run like hell in the other direction because they're hiding something they don't want you to know about that car. They want you to take the money and run, right? Okay, so I always insist that people, and I have so many people come up to me with regrets. I know, Glenn, you told me to get a pre-purchase. I didn't. Even my car broker bought a freaking Camaro, and at the end of the day, it needed head gaskets, it needed a transmission, and an air conditioning system.
All could have been avoided
within
good
3 months of his purchasing this. And he sold me his mom's Camaro, which was a V6, and he got the SS RS one. And this thing looked beautiful as a convertible. It is sexy and everything else like that. And he ended up spending about $8,000 to fix all the stuff that was wrong. So, hopefully lesson learned. But, I always tell people pre-purchase inspection. I said, there's a lot of people out there buy salvage vehicles. They do a restoration on them, duct tape, baling wire, and hot glue to put the car to make it look nice again. And then they sell it to an unsuspecting person who knows nothing about inspecting a car. Oh, it sounds good. It drives good. Okay, we'll see you later. And then they come in for their first oil change, and there's literally baling wire holding the front bumper in because they couldn't glue it on anywhere. So they got baling wire going to the frame with screws going in it so that the bumper won't fall off.
While we're on pre-purchase inspection, I got to tell you, I even caution my clients, and I let them know, even if they say it's certified, get it inspected by somebody you trust and you do business with, your shop.
Amen.
Because I've looked over certified vehicles before after they bought them.
Right.
And one of them, I'll never forget this young lady. She's about 30 years old, going to school out here. She wasn't from here, but she was going to school out here. And she went and bought a car, and they said it was certified. She bought it on a Sunday, brought it to me on Monday. And this thing looked like somebody had jumped it. I mean, it was like...
I'm going to give you a classic example of what you're describing right now. This person came in because, all right, we didn't know him. We had no track record, no history, but were going to be buying a vehicle from a large place, and they had a certified inspection, and they wanted to get a secondary inspection per dad. Dad says, no, got to bring it here. Brought it in. One of the very first things, guys, on our pre-purchase inspection as well as our comprehensive inspection, one of the things that we do, every single vehicle gets the spare tire check. Now, some of the new cars don't even have spare tires.
Yeah.
But a lot of the older cars, 90% of cars on the road do have a spare tire.
Right.
And about those 90%, probably 80% are flat. You know what I mean? So when you go to use them, you can't because nobody's inspected them in 5 years.
Yeah, it's as bad as the one that's already on the ground.
Or they're cracked so bad you couldn't use it if you wanted to.
You guys, you'll love this. This car was inspected. We opened up, the trunk, and then you pull up. You know what I mean? Literally where the area is that the spare tire would be tucked back down in the bottom. The spare tire rim was there with a shredded tire on it. I mean, the tire was shredded. And we just looked at it. We took a picture of it. Walked in the office and said, okay, this is what the results of just the first step, the first part of our inspection, it won't pass. And she just, it was incredible. But that's to your point. Yeah. You have to get a quality inspection done, you know what I mean, that has some support with documentation pictures, in this case is what I'm talking about, so that because, listen, if that girl was caught on the side of the road, it's your daughter, your wife, your mom, you know what I mean, your grandmother. And now all of a sudden she has a flat tire. Wouldn't expect her to do it, but somebody would flag down and help. I've helped many people broken down. And you go and you check that in the trunk and it looks like that. Oh my goodness, your heart sinks. You're thinking, I'm now in trouble. You know what I mean? Now I really am in trouble. And I guess that's the whole idea behind inspections, is that we are trying to prevent trouble from occurring in a compromised situation.
Yeah, well, even if the tire in the back is whole and it's 15 years old.
Or it's got 5 pounds of air in it.
Well, what about just simple things like, what if the jack isn't there? What if the lug wrench is there? You know, just all the things that you need if you do get yourself in a situation where you need some assistance.
Right.
You know, and that brings me to another inspection that we haven't talked about yet, but I think it's just as important, is trip inspection.
You bet.
Before you go on a road trip, you need to get your vehicle inspected. So my daughter was 18, 19 years old. And she calls me up and she says, Dad, she said, I'm going to California. And I said, oh, okay, so when are you going? She goes, well, I'm leaving right now.
No, you're
I
not.
Said, do you need me to look over the vehicle before you go? Well, no, it'll be fine. I go, no, it won't be fine because you're going to call me when you're stuck between here and California and I'm going to have to come get you.
You're going to be
it's
in
not going to be fine.
You're going to
That's
be
not
in
a pretty desert.
Yeah, it's not
in
going to
Mount Hell. Yeah.
And I told her, I said, who raised you? I swear, we've had these conversations, you know, but they're just, hey, it's now the moment, let's go, you know.
Right.
And I told her, I said, you ain't going anywhere until I look over that car.
Right.
But that's the thing. We all get so excited about our trip. You know, if we're going on vacation or we're going to go somewhere, we get excited about it. So then we go ahead and we get our suitcase, we get everything packed, we get all that stuff done, right? And then we forget, how are we going to get there? Mm-hmm. And I see it happen a lot.
You bet.
Where people tell me, you know, yeah, I'm going on a trip. Well, when are you leaving? Well, I'm leaving, you know, next week or this week. Have you had anybody look at the vehicle? Oh, no, I didn't even think about that.
And to that point exactly, I think it is so important that the reason why we do comprehensive inspections on oil changes, especially and particularly, how often should they be done? At least 4 times a year, guys. At least one time every season. You know, 3 months. If 3 months is
right before summer, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, spring, fall, summer, yeah.
Because listen, the environment changes. I mean, we could talk about the roads and how, you know, almost every road in Arizona, you know what I mean, is always under construction on a consistent basis. And I don't care whether it's a freeway or a highway or a byway, you know what I mean? You always have something going on. There's debris, deposits, things on the road. Plus, we're constantly using our cars because they are tools. The reality of it is, you need to be able to have the confidence, just to your point, where let's say you get that call in the middle of the night and it says, hey, listen, I need you here in California by morning because we've got this situation going on, whatever that may be. All right. Now you have 2 cars in the garage. This one just came in for an oil change and got a clean bill of health with a thorough inspection. And this one you haven't had inspected yet. Which car am I taking? Yeah. I'm making the better choice. I'm going to use this one just so I'm not stuck down.
Well, and it also depends on where you're going.
You bet.
The thing of it is where are you going? Are you going to snow?
You bet.
You know?
Yeah.
Or you're going to, or you're crossing the desert when it's
Right.
hotter than you know what.
You bet.
And the thing of it is you want to make sure that well, first of all, your cooling system's got to be in tip-top shape if you're crossing the desert, and the air conditioning better be working pretty good. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy.
If you're going to the snow, you better have the proper wiper fluid with the right concentration in there so that it doesn't, when you're using the wiper blades in the snow, it doesn't ice up.
And one of the things that we all overlook in Arizona, and not in Arizona, but in Phoenix in general, is our heater.
Yeah.
Because guess what? We don't use it that often.
Right.
Very rarely we don't use our heater. So the thing of it is we go up north and we turn on our heater and our window's frozen.
You bet.
And you can't defrost the window. And it's like, so there's so many things. And this is why, back to the whole thing, and we've said this and we preach it, that make sure that you communicate with your service provider that services your car, let them know where you're going, let them know what you're doing, how many miles you're going to put on it, and we'll help you through that process.
Right.
And we'll make sure we get the car in, we get it checked out, make sure that we do the things that are going to really be super important and keep you getting to where your destination is.
And Dave, it's fascinating, but to your point, everything that we do in this industry is about communication. It really is. It boils down to relationships, communication, and then commitment to excellence. It really is, because the commitment to excellence in doing the inspection really is what gives you the convenience, all right? But also the ability to have the comfort, the peace, if you will, to get in your vehicle and know, hey, I'm going to be able to do this. So, like you asked what we do as far as inspections, we have basically two kinds, but we have a third that we offer, and it's really for, customers who come in and they are just so pressed for time. They just don't have the time, to give us, because a good, thorough, comprehensive inspection takes on minimum 30 minutes, Yeah. And usually a little bit longer, but they don't have the necessary time required. We do what's called a basic inspection, and it's generally going to be, we're going to look at the belts, the hoses, the safety lights, the tires, the brakes. We're going to make sure that the basics, all the fluids, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I said those first, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what happens is those are the things we want to make sure, are going to get you through until you do have, on the next visit, the time to get that. And we call that, it's like a 30-point inspection, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then our comprehensive inspection, Glenn, to your point, it's about a 110-point inspection where you're really going through and thoroughly evaluating things on the routine, because these are the things that are everyday usage. And then when you go to that pre-purchase inspection, that's about a 170-point inspection where you're checking form and fitment and things like that of, the vehicle, stuff like that people are going to be buying, because you're looking to make sure that there hasn't been accidents and things like that.
Well, that or it's not been underwater and salt water.
You bet.
In the Gulf of Florida.
A little bit more.
Texas.
A little bit more. You
and
pull
we've
back
had
the carpet.
lots of those come into our shop after these storms have happened. People go and they buy these cars up. They're not insurance companies, because once an insurance company, they condemn the car,
I would tell anybody that goes anywhere for any kind of a service to just to reiterate what you said, make sure you ask your service provider for a copy of the inspection report.
Yeah.
Because then you know what to expect.
Yeah.
If they don't have one, or they hem and haw about, we didn't really do an inspection.
And we got to wrap this thing up because we're running out of time here. But I do want to throw one thing out there. Every one of us sitting at this table here, we do all the repairs and all the maintenance services on your vehicle.
You bet.
Okay, so we have the ability to look at your vehicle and see something that isn't where it should be, the way it should be, that is potentially going to give you some problems. And we have the equipment, we have the technology, and we have the training. Our people are trained to look for these things.
And we have the proper fluids and oils. We
Right.
mentioned in a previous podcast about how many different kinds of 16, 20 different kinds of oil now.
Right.
You put the wrong stuff in, you can void a warranty.
Because if you have somebody out there that isn't trained properly, that doesn't do any of these repairs, doesn't do any of these inspections, are they going to really know what they're looking at?
Right.
Okay.
Well, by the same token, the only other inspection we do is when we get called from an insurance company that calls us and says, we need you to inspect this car because we suspect sabotage, basically, is what they're looking for. Somebody used the wrong kind of oil, used an inferior product. We want to know, was the brake problem caused by improper fluids and things like that, where you have to do now a different level of testing. You know what I mean? You're collecting samples and you're doing actually oil sampling and testing. But I mean, those are what I'm going to say, a very different level, and generally those are ordered by an insurance company or something.
Right.
Of that nature.
There's an investigation that's involved in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, guys, hey, you know what? I think this was a great podcast, and I think that I'm really hoping that people out in that are listening to this really understand. And trust me, if you ever have any questions or anything, you can always call any one of our shops.
Well, you bet. Right into the show.
Yeah, right into the show. Email us. And we'd be happy to answer any questions and anything that maybe we didn't cover that you would like us to cover.
If there's topics that you'd like to hear about, we'd love to hear from you and know what it is that we could discuss, because we enjoy doing that.
Right. And if we miss something, we want to know about it, because we'll definitely do another podcast and we'll mention that.
Yeah, and even if we don't know something, we can do some research and find out. We're between the three of us, we've got a ton of experience, but we haven't seen everything, but we're certainly willing to.
So I still love what I do. I get
dip
to
our
learn every
toes
day.
into the water and figure out what's in there.
And always remember this: like and subscribe. I can't even say the word.
Oh, I thought you said owies. I was like, whoa! You said always.
No. Always. We would love. We would love for you to like and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah,
and
tell your friends about us. Let them know. Hey, there's some really cool things. You may not be interested in every episode of everything that we do and say, because it may not be within the realm of your needs or whatever, but we've got over 100 episodes of, podcasts underneath the hood, and
everybody's interested in a little fun. Come on, have some fun with us.
It's podcastunderneaththehood.com. Definitely like and subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and look forward to seeing you at the next podcast.
Thanks for visiting.
Be good.